have you heard a response from the pardon attorney? And then two, have you also reached out to the, I'm going to use quotes for folks, pardon czar, Alice Marie Johnson, and that is who the woman who is often standing next to the president in the Oval Office when he is making these calls to let people know that they have been pardoned?
No, we've not heard from Ed Martin, who is the new U.S. pardon attorney who's formally in charge of this. We've not heard from anybody at the White House. Look, we want to know, are they formalizing this? Is it really just a pay-to-play operation? Because there are thousands of people around the country who are seeking pardons, and they've waited their turn. They've generally waited 5 years from their conviction before they've gone in. They've filled out all the forms and everything. But it looks like it's just going to political donors and political followers and allies of Donald Trump. Take this guy, Paul Walchek, who's a nursing home executive who stole millions of dollars from his own employees. It was supposed to be withheld for Social Security taxes or Medicare, but in fact, he put it in his pocket. He bought a $2 million yacht. He spent it on fancy travel and so on. So he's convicted. And then he filed for a pardon petition to the president just a few days after the inauguration. And nothing was really happening until his mom went to $1 million a plate fundraiser for Donald Trump. And what do you know? 3 weeks later, he got a complete, full, unconditional pardon and no longer owed $4.4 million in restitution to his victims and to the government. So that $1 million was a very shrewd investment on their side when you look at this whole new pay-to-play pardon operation that they're running in complete defiance of American history and what's always happened before.
How much control, Congressman, do you as a ranking member or Congress have over this process? We were told over the last term of Donald Trump, it was reiterated during the Biden term that this is a presidential privilege, that the president gets to make these decisions. There seems to have never been really any guardrails from a federal perspective on this pardon power. What do you see now outside? I get the concern, and it's obvious and real, but what do you see as the necessary reforms going forward with something like this? Because there's a lot of breastfeeding all around about it, but at the end of the day, what can be done to fix it?
Well, look, it's clear that the pardon power is a unilateral executive power under Article 2, and you can't appeal a pardon. But at least up until the Supreme Court's dreadful presidential immunity decision, it was also clear that you could not buy a pardon. That is, the president couldn't go online and say, anybody who gives me $1 million will get a pardon. The pardon might be good, but it's still bribery, and that would lead to prosecution. Now, the question is whether or not that understanding survives this terrible presidential immunity decision, saying that the president is absolutely immune from prosecution for exercise of the core functions of his office. I can't believe that it would really entitle the president just to go online and say anybody who gives me $1 million will get a pardon. But we're getting very close to that process when there's a $1 million a plate dinner and people are able just to, pull a pardon out of a hat. There's lots of examples like that. And, that's really what's going on in the crypto field, because Trump originally was a huge skeptic of crypto, and he said that it was, a nest of fraud and corruption, and it wasn't real. Well, that apparently became a big attraction for him, and he decided that he would be all over crypto. Now they've got their own crypto business, World Liberty Financial. They have dropped 13 different SEC investigations against different crypto fraudsters. One of them, Justin Sun, was at that crypto dinner as one of the lead donors to the new crypto meme coin, which is basically like the Trump Hotel. It's a channel through which people can put untold millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars into Donald Trump's pockets, whether it's for a pardon or for the dropping of an SEC investigation or what have you. The kind of corruption we're seeing right now, Michael, is so spectacular. It is unlike anything that has ever been seen before in American history. It makes Watergate look like a Cub Scout picnic.
I believe your colleague, Senator Elizabeth Warren, called it a, quote, corruption orgy, which will stay with me for a very long time. On that crypto dinner and on your investigation into that crypto dinner, as you mentioned, Justin Sun, really the focus of your investigation. Why do you think it is important to focus on him?
Well, it's important to focus on any particular case that makes it understandable, that makes it comprehensible to people what is taking place. The Constitution categorically forbids the collection of gifts, of presents, of emoluments, of payments from foreign governments and kings and princes. And so we don't know how many millions and tens of millions of dollars that they've made so far on crypto. And it's actually around $1 billion a month that they've been able to make through the various schemes and scams. We don't know how much of that is actually coming from foreign states, foreign governments, or their agents. That's a total violation of the Constitution, and we cannot let go of the Foreign Emoluments Clause. It says you can't take payments of any kind whatever, presents of any kind whatever, from a king or a prince of foreign state without the permission, the express consent of Congress. Congress has to act, and that's the way it's always been understood. And if we let that go, well, the next thing they'll say, oh, well, who needs to have elections? You know, we had elections through the Civil War, through World War II, through World War I. We've got to stick to the text and the language of the Constitution.
You know, Congressman, in the last host chat we just had, I said I was talking to a senior Democratic strategist today who said to me that folks can't just want to, they just can't be ready to meet the moment. They have to want the moment. And you seem to be an elected official that wants the moment, that wants so desperately to continue to fight. What is going on with some of the colleagues in Congress? Because I hear you so consistently on these issues of the Constitution, of elections. You are all over the airwaves, day in and day out, it feels like, weekly, regularly talking about these things, making sure people do not forget. And it feels like that same fervor does not exist across the Democratic caucus in the House specifically. Am I wrong about that?
Well, I think increasingly everybody has found what their place is in this struggle. I mean, I don't claim to be like the PR comms expert, right? People say you guys need a new comms strategy. Okay, fine. I will support what the experts come up with. I am focused on the Constitution and defending the rights of the people under the Bill of Rights. I am focused on the Article I powers of Congress, the lawmaking powers of Congress. And we have done a dozen different amicus briefs in cases ranging from birthright citizenship to due process to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And we're winning every single day. And so we kind of have to divide the labor up. I do think our jobs have changed somewhat from before. It used to be you get elected to Congress and you go, you push a green button or you push a red button and you send everybody a monthly constituent newsletter and that's your job. That's not the job anymore. People need us to be organizers in defense of democracy and freedom. And we've got to recapture the momentum here so we can defend the judicial independence that's working for us. We get into next year, we win the House back, we cut this reign of terror in half, and we move on to win back the White House and to get on with American history and our regularly scheduled programs of trying to make progress for the American people. So we got to defend our democracy, and we've got to defend the programmatic achievements of democracy like Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. So I think my colleagues are all rising to the occasion now as we adjust to this new arrangement. We've got to go in as fighters every single day to defend everything that we believe in. And that's a privilege, really. It's a joy to have a job where we can do that.
Well, and to that extent, you know, you are doing that, to Simone's point, in many ways. I call to mind a recent listening of you on WTOP, the local radio station here in the DMV, where you talked about introducing a bill that would require large retailers to post tariff costs. In other words, that's something that's real for the American people who know this now to be the tax on them that the Trump administration has claimed it is not. They're already beginning to see the impact in various ways. In the last moments we have, Congressman, talk about why that is important, why having that local conversation, if you will, and pushing legislation like this is one of the ways Democrats begin to break through.
Well, because we live in a time of propaganda, and Donald Trump and the GOP thrive on confusing people. You know, he says China's going to pay the tariffs. There are people who actually still believe that China's going to pay the tariffs. No, China's not going to pay the tariffs. The businesses, the American businesses, are going to pay the tariffs, and they're going to pass the costs on to American consumers. So we're going to pay the tariff. So all I'm saying is if you're going to buy a computer and the computer would have been $2,000, but now it's $2,600, it should say $600 for the Trump tariff. So we have truth in tariffs in America. Of course, the whole thing is unconstitutional, as the trade court found last week, because Donald Trump doesn't have the power to regulate international commerce. Congress has the power to regulate commerce among the states. And so he's in violation of the Constitution again. And remember, this is the good news that Simone and Michael, I want you to make sure that everybody hears. We are winning in court every day. We've got to stand up for judicial independence, not let them try to impeach the judges, and not let Donald Trump try to intimidate the judges. Their job is to interpret the Constitution, and that works for the people. It doesn't work for Donald Trump. We've got no kings here, and that's why we're all protesting on June 14th, exercising our First Amendment rights to say we've got no kings, we've got no queens, we've got no serfs, we've got no slaves, just the people. And those of us who aspire and attain to public office are nothing but the servants of the people.
All righty. Congressman Jamie Fightin Raskin.